Welcome to the After the Noise podcast. I'm Dr. Jen Bradley, licensed psychologist, and this is where we talk about everything your GLP-1 is changing besides the number on the scale. Last week, we talked about counting yourself in. Today, I want to talk about something that trips up almost every woman who's done that successfully for a while. Her habits hold up fine when things are calm, and then they don't survive an ordinary week. Not a crisis, not a hospital stay or a family emergency. Just a normal, busy, nothing special week. A woman I work with described it perfectly. She said her habits were like a plant she only remembered to water when the sun was shining. The second it got cloudy for a few days, in her words, it just died. I want to spend this episode on that because I think we've been asking the wrong question about why habits fall apart. We keep asking what disrupted them. Travel, illness, a bad week at work. But that framing assumes the habit was sturdy to begin with, and something external knocked it over. More often, the habit was never built for the life we actually have. It was built for a version with more time, more energy, more margin than an ordinary Tuesday ever gives us. Think about how most health advice gets built. Someone designs a program assuming 45 minutes for a workout, a full hour to meal prep on Sunday, 8 hours of sleep as a baseline you can count on. It's a plan built for a version of life a lot of us don't actually have. And when our actual week doesn't match the plan doesn't get blamed. We do. Here's the distinction I want to draw today because I think it changes everything downstream of it. There's a difference between a habit that needs rescuing after it collapses and a habit that was designed small enough that it never really collapses at all. Most of what gets taught about sustainability focuses on the rescue. What do you do after you've fallen off? That's useful and it matters. But today I want to go earlier than that to the design itself, because a habit built at the wrong size will need constant rescuing no matter how good your recovery plan is. So let's talk about size. When most of us set out to build a habit, we build the version we want to be capable of. The 45-minute workout, the fully planned week of meals, the 9 o'clock bedtime we're determined to hit every night. We build the aspirational version, and then we're surprised when a demanding week can't sustain it. I want you to try something different. Build the smallest version of the habit you'd still call a win. Not the version that gets you the most benefit. The version so small that skipping it would feel almost silly. If your habit is movement, the aspirational version might be a 45-minute workout. The smallest version that still counts might be 5 minutes of stretching next to your bed before you get in it. If your habit is eating well, the aspirational version might be a fully planned week of meals. The smallest version might be one protein source at breakfast, nothing else required. If your habit is rest, the aspirational version might be a full 8 hours. The smallest version might be putting your phone in another room 15 minutes before you intend to sleep. Here's what I want you to notice about all three of those smallest versions. None of them require a good week. None of them assume you have time or energy or a calm household. They're built for the week you're actually having, not the one you wish you had. And here's the part that surprises people. The smallest version isn't a consolation prize for a bad week. It's the thing that actually determines whether the habit survives long term, because most of your weeks are ordinary ones. Not crisis weeks, not perfect weeks either. Just regular, busy, nothing special weeks, one after another. A habit that only works when the week is calm and generous is a habit that will mostly not work, because most weeks aren't calm and generous. There's something underneath this that I think matters as much as the mechanics. When you keep doing the smallest version on an ordinary hard day, you're not just maintaining a behavior. You're proving something to yourself about who you are. Not, I'm someone who works out for 45 minutes when life is easy. Something more private and sturdier. I'm someone who shows up for myself even on a day that gave me every excuse not to. That belief doesn't get built on the days everything goes right. It gets built on the ordinary, unremarkable days where you did the small version instead of nothing at all. I want to name something else because I think it's part of why so many of us default to the big version instead of the small one. There's perfectionism running underneath most habit building. A sense that if it's not the full version, it doesn't really count. That doing 5 minutes when you meant to do 45 is somehow cheating or admitting defeat. I'd push back on that. 5 minutes is its own kind of success, one that's available to you on the days the 45-minute version isn't. And a habit you can actually keep beats a habit you can only do when conditions are ideal, every single time, over the long run. Here's your assignment this week. Take one habit that you're trying to build or maintain. Not 5, 1. And design its smallest version, the one you could do on your busiest, most depleted day without it costing you anything you don't have to give. Write it down. Make it embarrassingly small. Then commit to doing that version, and only that version, on the days that call for it. Your standards haven't changed. What changed is that you're finally building something designed for the life you're actually living, instead of the one the workout plan assumed you had. Next week, we're staying in this territory, but I want to bring you something bigger than one more habit strategy. Because this month, the field itself put something in writing that a lot of us have been saying out loud for years without the data to back it up. I'll walk you through exactly what changed and why it matters for every woman who's ever felt like she was building the emotional side of this journey alone, without anyone in her care team telling her that it was part of the job. I'm Dr. Jen Bradley. I'll see you next week.